concentration is, and inside that 40 yards is what they need to measure. The dispersal outside of that, they're not really, I don't know why they're not worried about it, but it just...
Tell that to North Korea.
I think what they want to know is if something is dropped, and I can't tell you because I'm not a biological weapons expert. I was a military police officer, I have no idea. But the way that they want to test is that if it's dropped in the middle of the town here, if you're right next to it, you have this amount of time. And as you move further and further out, they can estimate by the data that they collect within 40 yards. They can then apply mathematical equations to understand how far away it would be if it seeps in further and further.
Miss Kelly in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
We have nothing to do with the science of this.
I know, we gotta get
Number
done
one,
soon.
Congress doesn't move very quickly on everything, this we know. You're coming up for probably holiday breaks, and this is talking about New Year, so this is right around the corner. If there are other meetings and people coming down here, how quickly is that getting organized? What is the schedule for the committee meetings? And third, you mentioned that you would fight like heck for us if we were comfortable with it. I don't think you'd have a room of people asking these questions if we were all comfortable with it. So what does that look like for the congressman to go back and fight?
So-
The objection has been stated that this could be done anywhere, and
Sure.
I think we're all okay with testing somewhat, but not here.
Yes. So the timeline that it would work in, we are not going to be in session next week because of Thanksgiving, but up until I think we're in session almost every week until the end of the year. So we have plenty of time to meet with the committee, to convene a committee to understand this, to get this stopped, if that's what you guys want to have happen. But also, the 6,000 signatures is going to say a lot when I take that back. 7 now? 7,000 signatures is going to take a lot. But I'm imploring you that you need to go on and put it in official and put it into the official assessment.
Yeah, just because you signed the petition, that's not enough. You have to also go and either mail in a paper or send an email yourself.
That's why these things are set up too. It's because if it didn't have this comment on this assessment, someone could just come in and do whatever they wanted and do a test. This is your voice and your opportunity to push back and say, no, I don't want it. You can tell us and we can go and tell them, but like I said, they're just going to think it's some congressman from Kansas that doesn't like DHS and they don't want it in their backyard. But you know, when there's 6,000 or 7,000 citizens saying, I don't like DHS and I don't want them in my backyard, that's a lot stronger than the congressman.
So the congressman has already talked to the chair of the committee and gotten a commitment that they will hold hearings on this?
We haven't got a commitment for hearings, but we have talked to the Chairman McCall about this. He knows about it. We talked to his staff about this, that this is an issue for us, and that they know that I'm down here talking to you, and they expect me to come back to them and brief them on what you guys said, what you guys want, what the general consensus is down here, and that's going to go a long way. I don't know if we're going to convene a committee on it. I can't tell you that because I just don't know. But I can tell you that the congressman will be sitting down with someone from the Department of Homeland Security, from Science and Technology, and they will hear about this meeting and they will hear about how this went. They will, if I can get the 7,000 signature petition, that would be great too.
We will.
Slap it right in front of them.
We will.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, I'm not here defending DHS. I'm here just trying to give you information to make you feel a little better. But like I said, if you don't want it, that's what I'm going to go back with because I represent you. I don't represent DHS. I'm here
And I just want to take a second to let everybody know that our state representative, Larry Alley, has arrived. He was a little bit late due to another commitment, but he is here as well. And we're going to go right over here to the gentleman in the hat.
Did the DHS enter into
He's a senator, not a representative. I messed up.
and if they did, is that a public document?
That's a good question. There is a discussion in here
My
about...
old man always told me, he said, I can't stop you from doing what you want to do, but I can damn well make you wish you hadn't.
I like that, sir. Oh, I can tell you there is a talk about a lease agreement in here. That lease agreement was between the tribal council. I don't know what exactly the government structure is.
Can I make a statement?
The tribal council.
I know about this.
Sure.
The lease is through OSU, the University Multi-Sectoral Laboratory, which is UNL. So the lease is through them. They're the ones who have subcontracted a Homeland Security contract.
Who leased it to the OSU?
OSU, it was leased from the Chilocco Coalition, which is the Kaw tribe, the Conca tribe, the Tonkawa tribe, the Pawnee tribe, and the Otoe tribe.
And they have the right to do that.
But
Just have the right, doesn't make
the lease gets to do, I'm a Kaw tribe member, and they release this contract to put UNL in there because they said they were testing drones in their centers. There was never any talk about biological chemicals, nothing, no chemical testing. It was on. So the tribal, they've been meeting, they're trying to stop it.
Okay, Candace, you're welcome.
And I'm probably going to sound a little redundant to what he said. But,
No, it's fine. I want to hear everyone's voice.
my whole thing with this is that the DHS said this is to figure out if this is going to hurt people, whether on the inside or the outside. So my thing is, in order for something to work in a way to mimic what would happen if a chemical would be released by way of missile, how would the small amount of chemical that isn't one of the agents that would be used in a chemical warfare going to show DHS anything remotely close to the effects of a real chemical missile? Because I ain't buying nothing you trying to sell.
My understanding is the particle makeup is similar. So it doesn't mean anything about how deadly or whatever it is. It's just some particles are similar to others and some aren't. That's my understanding.
That's really scientific chemistry
Yeah,
stuff.
I was really bad at chemistry. Yes, ma'am.
So I have two questions. First of all, I live in an old house, old windows. So not all the houses are the same. So will my house with old windows protect the same as some with new homes? How much time or notice will they have to actually alert us to get in our house for protection?
That's a good question. If this goes through, and there's this many concerns about it, I'm going to tell Ron that we're going to need some kind of warning. We're going to have to do something to make you guys feel better. As far as I can see right now, with the way that you guys are coming out against this, that I don't know how I can go back and say that this is a good idea. And that's what I'm going to tell Ron. Like, honestly. And honestly, my understanding of it, I thought, it's not in my backyard, so I have a different understanding than you guys do. So I understand how you feel. And Ron understands how you feel. I can tell you, when I go sit down, we're going to have like a 2-hour conversation about this thing.
Gentleman in the back over here.
Number one, why don't they do this at Dugway Proving Ground? That's 2,642 square miles that the government has highly secured specifically for biological and chemical testing. And we, the taxpayers, get screwed for that every year. And they've got hundreds of private contractors in there that the military can't even access the facilities that those contractors hold down.
I agree with it. It should be at a facility like that. I think the reason that it is here is because of the contracts with Oklahoma State University.
But
I totally agree with you. It doesn't need to be here.
But that's how they're screwing the populace, because that's exactly what Dugway was set up for. But the other point is, what is the half-life, the decay point of the dioxin, and the other urethra is not really of a major concern, but the titanium in the aircraft industry has been very problematic over the years. Ask anybody that's worked with it.
And this titanium dioxide, this specific chemical, women already have it in their cosmetics, and we put it on sunscreen.
In the U.S., not in Europe.
In the U.S.
Sunscreens are the number one cause of skin cancer, and there's been a lot of research.
Mr. Kuhn.
If this isn't nerd gas and you have mental health issues, this is a training exercise. You're not testing, you're training.
There's no scenario training.
But you've already tested this in other places. You've tested in your various proving facilities. So this appears to be a training exercise. So I know the guys that came up here to work on it, as far as they're concerned.
The pictures of, are you talking about the guys in the hazmat suits?
No, he's talking about people that are working.
So what we've been told is that this is for data collection, that there's no scenario that's being run or anything like that.
So the data collection here is going to be different than in your normal test facilities?
The reason what they said is why they picked this specific one was because of UML. That it says the UML has a unique infrastructure that includes an abandoned town and access to multi-story abandoned high-rise complex. This is one-of-a-kind infrastructure will augment by UML's subject matter experts in areas of microbiology, aerosol, and chemical detection, as well as by experienced program managers that have participated in or led similar tests for other government agencies. So, like I said, DHS didn't pick this site.
And I know it's not your expertise or in your knowledge of this. I know that you don't know it. It's Homeland Security. It's not a state issue, so you really don't have esoteric knowledge of what they're actually going to do. So this could very well be, and it surely appears to be, a drill.
If it is a drill, we will find out. That is a question that I will have Ron ask DHS. If this is a drill or is this a data collection?
You have been waiting forever.
Test.
Is there anyone here from OSU?
No,
No one in this room is from OSU.
no. Their requests were made and they were not returned. And as well as DHS directly, requests were made, forms were put in, and no phone calls were returned. Vicky.
Okay, I can understand what in a way I can and cannot understand the choices they made for this school, for my school, my home. Those homes, I don't understand how they could be they're saying they're structurally stable. Those homes, that house that I'm believing what they're trying to do, was built either in the late 60s or the early 70s. And the school closed in 1980. It's been abandoned. So that house has been sitting there abandoned. I walked through it last June. It's just an old abandoned house. How is that going to prove anything to anybody on how well structured it is? If you want, build a house. Build one that's made with materials of today, made out of stuff, not something that was wood from the 60s, the 30s, the 40s. But those are better.
Do you have any comment on that?
Figure out, you want to do a study of normal houses, get a normal house out there. Those buildings have been abandoned. Yes, they've been occupied, the apartment building has, but they're still very, very old. I don't understand. I don't understand why they want to tear my house.
Yeah, there are a lot of old homes.
I think that's part of it.
I think that's part of why they chose it is because they are older, and there's a lot of old homes around the area. I mean, there's a lot of people that live in old homes. Yes, ma'am.
You're here to listen to all of us, and then
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
going back to Mr. Pompey. Okay.
Congress Estes.
Well, Congress.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, and people are not wanting this. Does he have the power, or will they listen to him, the congressman, to OSU? Would he have the power to do anything about this?
To OSU? Well, I can tell you what he's going to have the power to do and probably what we're going to do on Monday is we're going to pull in the Oklahoma delegation, and we're going to talk to them because they're the ones that had all of this information before we did. They're the ones that were notified before anyone else because they decided not to tell Kansas. And we'll go and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? This is not something that we want in our backyard. Do I think that he has the power to stop it just himself? No, I think he needs your help.
So, like, the people need to talk and
the people, you need to implore everyone that you can that doesn't want this to happen to submit a comment into this comment, and so they're interested. Do you need to talk to that?
Lisa in the back.
Gentleman over here has had his hand.
I know, Lisa hasn't asked me. She's one of us.
My question is, when I read the report, is that they looked at several buildings, and they said one building was in so many meters of the creek.
No more.
One building was in so many meters of the lake. And they picked these buildings to do the test on because they're the furthest from water. Water's life. Why are they so scared that chemical is going to get in that water that runs into the Arkansas River and to Call Lake?
I think that goes back to the concentration issue. Is that the concentration breaks up over yards and meters, not miles. So so a couple of yards could mean a lot in concentration. Once it breaks up, it's not as harmful. Like I said, if you stand next to this thing, it's harmful. If you get 50 meters, 40 meters. Say again? Will I go to the testing site? If the test goes on, I don't think they would even let me go near a testing site. I mean, I was in the military for 10 years. I'm sure that I'm probably the best guinea pig they could put in front of that thing.
All right, we have 3 hands, and we'll finish with these 3 hands.
Sure. Farmers have been spraying these non-harmful chemicals in their fields, turning the ground over, but yet they have the highest rate of cancers, breathing problems, been classified as the highest risk job on the planet Earth. So how harmful is these? I mean, you keep saying, oh, all this is harmless, but yet it's proven, like, farmers have been using it, but yet they have lung problems, they have cancer, they have more of it than a normal person.
But those farmers also work with those things for years and years at concentrations that are much higher. This is for 10 minutes, 3 times each. This is not anywhere near like what you would experience if you were even walking through a field that had just been sprayed. The concentration is much, much lower.
Go right over here to the young lady.
Yes, ma'am?
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
The first question is, I like nature,
Mm-hmm.
and the birds and the animals around it that's happening, when it's happening, and they get in them, eat them. When they die, another animal comes to eat them. What happens to the animals and the animals that come to eat them?
Well, that also goes to concentration too. That once it goes further up the food chain, the concentration gets smaller and smaller.
And then my second question is,
if if this whole thing goes sour, like if this, like let's say that this just turns out
A tornado drops in the middle of it.
we're right here in the middle of it, okay?
Right?
I'm in my 40s. I'm not going to want to live here for the rest of my life. What's the resale value going to be on our homes?
It's a good question.
It's a good question, but like I said again,
You got $140,000, $180,000 home and you can't sell it for more than $20,000.
Yeah, how are these chemicals being brought in? What if truck falls over in the middle of town on the way there?
I mean, that would be the same thing would happen if a fertilizer truck got knocked over too.
I mean,
That's
picking
the same
Oklahoma.
stuff.
Their houses were sold on the pennies on the dollar. We have family that lived there, and their town was falling in because of all the chet that was removed from underneath their town. And they literally, my aunt bought her house for $140,000, and they gave her less than $60,000 for her home.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had to pull up a bunch of fencing and all this kind of stuff in order to get that money. And they couldn't even buy a home because their house was worthless, because they allowed them to pull the check out of their homes.
All right, Miss Smith.
Oh, I live in my own north of this side, and I wondered if there's a definite plan for warning people. Do they have a radius? Are they gonna call everybody within so many feet? Or do they have a time limit? Are they gonna warn you that morning? They're gonna do it this afternoon?
So the assessment says that outside the boundary line, there was something about warning the farmers that they're going to be in the fields that are immediately next to the campus. But their assessment, that's kind of like going overkill, because their assessment says, and whether you want to believe it or not, like I said, I'm not here to defend the assessment, I'm just trying to give you the information, is that once it hits the boundary line, the particulate is at such a level that it's almost negligible. It's at 0.01% of the maximum level that would be unhealthy for you. Okay. So that's my understanding of why they don't need to give a warning.
When she asked her question, you didn't answer it. Jill just went on.
I'm sorry. The concentrate. If you're worried about chemical concentration not being able to sell your house back, the chemical concentration from chemicals that are just like these are already there from all the farms and the runoff and everything.
I understand that, but like with Agent North, they said, oh, it's not going to harm you. It's not going to harm you. 30, 40 years later, they're finding out it did harm them. So these chemicals that you were saying aren't going to harm us. Let's say 10, 20 years from now, I go to sell my house, and our city is a wasteland. It's worthless.
Urea has been used for a while. So I don't know how long titanium dioxide's been in cosmetics, but urea has been used for a while.
Yeah, but that's a choice. If I choose to put the makeup on my face.
All right, right here with Sheila.
Okay, and I mean no disrespect, because I've ate the Potawatomi.
Yes, ma'am.
But I also know that Indian land does not have to follow U.S. laws. FMLA for one. Anyway, and you stated a while ago that the EPA regulates stuff. So I'm wondering, did OSU pick the Indian land because they wouldn't have to follow?
I don't know
all
the answer
those
to that,
rules?
but my guess would be that even if it's on Indian land, the organizations that are doing the testing still have to follow EPA and OSHA requirements.
Okay.
This is the requirements right here.
No, because I know that my daughter works at the casino.
Yeah.
They don't have to
OSHA?
hold her job for her while she's on leave for having a child.
But the people who hired her are the casino that's like owned by the tribe.
Correct.
All right.
So these are not. Oh, these are like the OSU has to follow OSHA requirements, even if it's
Because
on.
they get
Law for us, and then there's Indian law.
Right, but the people who are doing the testing are like government officials and they're OSU people.
Right,
like,
but
they have
they're
to
not
follow
on
those
government. They're on Indian land.
They're on self-governing land.
Right.
But the
the money's
they
coming
still have
from,
to follow
so they still have
OSHA
to-
if you're an employee of, even
what
if
I
you're
would
on the
assume.
land or not.
All right, we have 3 final hands up, and you will still get a chance to talk to him after for as long as he can stay.
And I'll pass out my
back
card.
in the back.
Yes, I just have a comment. I wanted
Sure.
to take back to your boss.
Absolutely.
Instead of having issues like this, why don't they draw up a bill in Congress that asks for permission from the community before they even accept that?
That's why that's this
Yeah.
assessment. That's
And then
the
you.
assessment is part of that assessment is a public comment period, and that was written into law is for to give you a voice. So you have this testing hasn't happened yet, and it may not happen because they still are doing the assessment, and part of that assessment is the public comment period. So
Okay.
the public comment period is extremely valuable for you to get your voice to them. Because I'm telling you, if enough people sign up, they won't do it.
Okay, right here.
We're gonna tell our city.
Thank you. I just had a comment. This is something, I'm all for testing. I think that's really important that we get all the knowledge. And certainly we don't want it to be in our backyard.
Sure.
But I think most of us feel like we're kind of being guinea pigs here. And we feel like we should have a choice as to whether or not we want to participate in this. And so I guess I just want to say the question
There'll still be more
to
time.
you as you take this back.
Yes, sir.
And discuss is, do you fully understand our feelings?
After this meeting, I think I do, sir. I think I do. Like I said, I've been serving. I've been serving this constituency for 3 years. I've served it through Mike, and I decided to stay on with Ron because I cared so much about this district. So like I said, I'm not here to defend them. I'm here as Ron's representative.
You're
to
going to
hear
be
your
our
voice.
voice, though, right?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, 110%. And you guys, and I don't know if any of y'all called up the office before, but you probably talked to me. I answer the phone a lot, and I have a lot of conversations with you guys. So over the years, I've felt like I have a personal relationship with you. So I'm gonna take your voice back. You can believe that. Yes, sir.
I don't know how pertinent this is to the discussion, but it leads up to like the pre-Agent Orange days. I think probably all of you are familiar with people that are suffering with that today. And it was advertised or said that all it was going to do was take the leaves off the trees. And we got veterans suffering today.
And I can tell you that was the one thing that I knew that coming down here that was going to be a major concern. That you guys have a absolute right and a reason to question all of these things and to not believe what you're being told. That's why I came down here to listen to you, but also came down to try to give you some of the information. I don't believe it all myself all the time, but I think that you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start with some form of trust and some belief. But if that's not there, or they haven't built it, the government hasn't built it for you, that's why I'm here. So you can tell me that and say, hey, you know what? They don't trust the bunk that you're giving them. And that's what I'm going to tell Ron, and that's what Ron's going to tell the DHS.
And for our final question, Ms. Kelly.
Yes, ma'am.
Could I just go back over that legislative schedule that
Sure.
you mentioned? Because with Thanksgiving upon us and then the Christmas break coming.
Yep.
And you mentioned that the chair is not committed to a committee meeting. There may not be a committee meeting at all. You're going to pull in, I think I heard you say, the Oklahoma delegation, which is wonderful. But if there is no committee meeting, walk us through the exact steps, please, of the provision for how this would come onto the radar in order to stop it.
Okay.
In time.
So what we would do, and what I'm going to advise Ron as his Homeland Security advisor, is that we would go first to the chairman of the committee, who we have a very close personal relationship, Congressman Michael McCall. We will tell him that this is not going to be okay in our district. Our constituents are not only upset, but they feel like betrayed because you guys weren't told before. So any trust that I think was here was probably lost. Am I right with that?
Yep.
And I think that is something that when we talk to the chairman, that we're going to tell him that. We're going to tell the Oklahoma representatives that also, that the trust here was lost when you guys didn't notify this community. So what the process would be, we talk to the chairman, We're going to talk to the Oklahoma delegation. I'm sure we could probably get some of those guys behind us. I don't know why they wouldn't. If we tell them about this meeting, show them the signatures that you'll give me.
Yes.
And they'll see the environmental assessment comments, which I think closes in
December 8th. December 8th.
December 8th.
Yeah.
December 8th. So implore your friends, your colleagues to put that in. But once they go through that assessment, we're going to ask, what was when it closes on 8th, we're going to go to them and say, what was the results? What did they say? And if they don't give us a response back, if they say, it was good, I'm going to know that probably was not true. And then we will absolutely ask the chairman to have hold an oversight hearing on this issue. But I can tell you that your voice is strong. It was written into law to give you guys a voice, and that's what this public comment period is, and this is why I'm here.
Can you check into a rumor down at Concord City that's going around?
Mm-hmm.
That there is a building in Blackwell, Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's run by, it's the military that's around it, and it's supposed to be full of coffins. Why do they have those?
Okay, I'll look into that.
Check into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Okay, and
Very disturbing.
that ends our Q&A, but we do still have 2 people that would like to speak to you real quick. Debbie? We do have more speakers.
I just have 2 minutes or so. My name is Debbie Lindbergh. I'm the district director for Congressman Estes. Our district office is in Wichita. I'm a lifelong resident of the 4th District. I live in Butler County, just to your north, so we're neighbors. I've been down in Ark City multiple times. I have great aunts and cousins who live here in Ark City. I just wanted you to know, I just wanted to rewind a little bit. I just wanted to rewind a bit that we were notified about the possibility of this meeting, thankfully, by your Senator Alley and also former Senator Abrams. Our office, and in fact our DC office, had no knowledge of what was going to be happening down here until people sent us the articles. So obviously the congressman from Kansas wasn't notified, as Greg has indicated to you, and your local authorities were not notified that DHS was planning this testing. So the lines of communication obviously failed. Congressman Estes has been very upset about that. He's happy that you're reaching out to us, and I just wanted to make sure we indicated that we weren't here to make sure that you all feel like this is fine. We don't think this is fine. Your congressman does not think this is fine, and that's why we came to listen, to write down, and I literally did write down all of your questions to take this back. And we copied off 200 of these forms that you can use, whether you're online or not. You can mail in through postal mail. You all need to take, we left a big stack at the back, take these and give them to all of your family members and your friends and your neighbors, and flood Homeland Security with your comments so that we can stop this. I mean, obviously you don't want this in your backyard. We don't want it in your backyard. We want to help you stop this. So help us by following up and doing something with your distress positively to send to them so we can help you get this stopped in your backyard.
Yeah. Yes.
I will. And thank you all for taking this huge amount of time to educate us so we can properly go back with your concerns.
Can we make more copies of this?
Yeah. Copy this to your heart's content. Make more copies.
Good.